I'm just messing with you. So, my name is Deborah Falls. I've been around here for, I don't know, 3, 4 years, something like that. Started graduate school here, finished my undergrad here. So I know quite a few faces in here. I took a little bit different approach to the presentation tonight. I'm going to show you 3 things that I'm currently working on and not showing you things from what I've done in the past. So let's start. So this is what I'm currently working on. And if you've been in the sculpture lab, you've seen these columns and probably wondering, well, what in the world is she going to do with those? So what I'm doing is I'm projecting video on these projections of actual silhouette shadows. And in midterm, I had them configured differently. It kind of looked like a family. One was leaning over, and that didn't go over very well. Because what I'm trying to talk about with this piece is homosexuality and the acceptance, a little bit of gay marriage itself, playing off of that. And this came about because I was in this reading group over the summer, and the Plato Symposium came up, and it was discussing, you know, the idea of the soulmate, where it was accepted then. So everybody started out as like this 4-legged, 4-armed, 2-faced creature. And there were 2 males, 2 females, and then a male and a female. Well, long story short, they were too strong. Zeus decided to cut them in half. So the 2 males are constantly looking for each other. The 2 females are looking for each other. So my idea was that the acceptance in ancient culture, it was accepted back then. Homosexuality was accepted then. Today, it is getting better, but is it really accepted fully? Well, I think after the election, what was going on last week, sure, 2 more states approved gay marriage, but we still have 41 to go. So, during the critique, it was discussed about how do you take ancient culture and compare it to modern culture. And I'm trying to do it with architecture. So this column in the back right here is not what's going to be there. I'm trying to make a fluted column by casting it out of cement that's about 30 inches wide, that I'll be putting that in the back, and I'll show you some photos of that here in a second of the process. So my thoughts are that these 2 figures can't quite touch on the modern columns that are in the front, but they will be able to connect on the ancient column that's in the back. So hopefully that will play between the ancient and modern culture and what's accepted and what's not. What imagery I'm going to use on the column in the back, maybe 2 men kissing, 2 women kissing, hands, touch. So as it comes off the mask on this one column, it'll end up in the middle. So this is my mold for the cement cast. So it's going to be fluted, so it'll look more like an ancient column versus a modern column. And so I tried it out, and this is what I came up with. This is my first test. And it doesn't look very good, does it? It looks like a bunch of gravel just jammed into this thing. So I'm trying to figure out, do I need to do this in cement? Can it be made out of something else? We discussed tonight different types of cement. Or also, if I go back, using the form itself and just making it out of PVC and with the spacers in between, and then just covering it in plaster. So those are my options. So I'm toying with that idea. But I really, really want the ancient column in the background to play the imagery off of. So. Another problem that I ran into was trying to figure out how to film this better, because the first time I shot this, I was projecting on a white wall, trying to pick the shadows up off the white wall. You have to stand at an angle, and I couldn't get their feet in there. So I built a scrim, and Paul and I figured out that using projected light with a white backdrop in Photoshop works the best. So that's what I'm going to be using to film it. And I was trying to create the four-legged symposium creature and don't like the imagery, so that got shot down. So as I was going through this process and projecting the images on the columns, trying to edit, trying to mask, trying to do this, I happened to turn the projector and there was a box sitting on the table and it projected in the box. So I started thinking about, what does that mean? Is it confinement? Are we in a box? And this is referring to the gay community. Kind of like the closet. Are you fighting yourself? Are you trying to accept yourself? Are you worried about people accepting you? But it's this, it's this constant struggle. So I started playing around with a video inside a box using mirrors, trying to get it on both sides, the top, the bottom, and then what imagery can I use in this? Should it be one person? Should it be two people? I don't know yet. But I'm trying to figure out the technicalities of how to shoot, how to project this in the box. And then how are you going to encounter this? Is it going to be on the ground? Is it going to be on the wall? And my thoughts are that it's got to be kind of awkward for the viewer to look at. So you either have to bend over or straddle something, or you have to interact and really get into what you're looking at. So it's a little bit difficult. So maybe that makes you start thinking about being confined in a small space, in a box, thinking about what the point I'm trying to get across. I'm not sure if a cardboard box is the right medium. Could be a space. I don't know, but these are all the things that are going through my head as I'm waiting for video to render. So I'm just constantly thinking of new ideas. It came up, yeah, could I do it in a space and block off that space? Like Duchamp's, I forget the name of it, where you look through the people. What? Thank you very much. And I saw that piece, and where you look through these people, and there's this female laying in a field. Anyway, I wasn't really impressed, but I liked the engagement that you actually had to look through the people. So that's kind of what I want the viewer to experience while viewing this. So as I'm doing this, most of you know if you've been in the sculpture lab during the day when there's no class, there's either music on or a movie on. And I happened to be working on something, and I had a documentary on, and the word faggot came up. And they were talking about, a bundle of sticks that starts a fire. And so I started thinking about that. Well, how did that transition into a name for homosexuals? So I'm like, I've done some research. I can't find any solid research as to what connects it. But I thought it was interesting. They used to use the bundle of sticks, the faggot, to light the fires for the heretics and burn them. But I couldn't find any solid proof if they were actually doing that to homosexuals, but I still like the idea of the word. And then I started thinking about, they call cigarettes fags. Well, why? I didn't know that either. So I'm like, well, how can I incorporate this into what I'm trying to talk about? And so this is the first thing that I came up with. So this is a faggot. And the reason why I use cigarettes is not only because they're called fags, but it's like an oral fixation. It's kind of a, does that talk about sex? I don't know. Because it's an oral fixation? Maybe. It could. Looks a little phallic. But anyway, this was my first idea, so I just threw it together and took a photograph. Is this the way it's going to end up? I have no idea. I don't know. I'm still working through things. But that's pretty much what I'm working on right now. As I get frustrated with one, I turn to the other and goof around. So that's about it. If you guys want to see these progress, come on down to the sculpture lab. Give me some ideas. Come listen to some music and watch a movie. Whatever. You'll be there?
What's everybody?
Oh, can I make an announcement?
And we have an announcement, right?
The fashion show is tomorrow, 3D paper fashion show is tomorrow night in the amphitheater at 8 o'clock. So it's outside. Starts at 8. It's outside. So bring a jacket and a sleeping bag. No, I'm just kidding.